in. Just remember, we want you to get your questions answered. On the right-hand side of your screen, you will see the Questions tab. Feel free to type them away and send all your questions to us so that you can get what you need out of the time that we spend together. So, Rich, you are our Chief Strategic Officer, pretty much ruler of the free world, lead czar. You've attracted and converted more online leads than anyone else in the history of the universe. So I think it's a great dual topic where we can talk about how to attract leads, how to really drive your business through use of technology, and then Tony talking to us about how to close them better and how to really get conversion on those. So first of all, let's start with what in the heck is a CRM and why do I need it?
First of all, I'd like to make a comment about Tony Shahal's socks.
They're sexy socks. They are.
He is Mr. Argyle.
Talking about socks on the radio or on a
That's
webinar
why I have
doesn't
to
really
describe
work.
them. What are we talking? Beige and
Put 'em up
baby
here.
blue
I don't
and
really
oh, that is sweet,
those
man.
socks. Trust me, folks.
That
Those
is
are
sweet.
some SOCKS.
What is CRM and why do we need it? Well, first of all, it stands for Client Relationship Management. That's a technical term for keeping your stuff organized.
What if I have relationship issues, Rich? Should I get one anyway?
Well, I would say if you are dating multiple people, it will keep you organized, but that would be about it.
All right, okay.
You could include your Facebook birthdays into the CRM, by the way, because it syncs with Google.
Nice.
So you'll remember everybody's birthday and holidays.
God, he's good.
Did you
I
know
throw
that,
him the randomest curveballs. He still turns it into value.
Well,
He's
let me
amazing.
tell you this.
Yeah.
3 times I showed up to work here at headquarters and nobody was here. I didn't know it was a holiday. Being ex-military.
Right.
We didn't. What holiday?
Right.
So now I have that synced into my CRM, and now I know when it's an actual holiday.
Nice.
I still come to work, but at least I'm conscious that there is a holiday.
Right.
Yes, it is.
Right.
So the client relationship manager is important, especially as we progress with technology and real estate. I think the baseline you have to look at is we're up to 98% of everybody starting to look for property, and they start on the internet. So that is the median now that we use. And having a system, a client relationship manager, and a system to manage contacts, capture leads, respond to them, campaign. But most of all, I think the CRM is a launching point for you to offer value to prospective buyers and sellers. That's the way you always want to look at that. Anything that comes out of your client relationship manager should be something a buyer or the seller goes, wow, you know what? I like that. That's good. Value. Mm-hmm. I think that's what you need to look at your CRM as.
So it's really just a data warehouse for all the information about people that might know me, trust me, love me, or slightly know me that I can manipulate in different ways. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Absolutely. And I think it's, let's make up stuff this morning that I really like. Nice. Terminology anyway. Yeah. I think it's a great catalog of your branding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good.
So, Kathy's marketing team has done a fantastic job with uploading our new ClientConnect system. And there's a catalog of branding to use. And our websites. There's different branding with the websites. And with WordPress, you're going to be able to go in very easily and brand yourself. And that's the one thing Ed Leadership has been about in this company is, we have a company brand, but it's really about the agent's brand. And this CRM will really help you do that in a much higher volume. So I think that's important.
Good. Let's transition to email because I know that that's a tool that a lot of people use to generate leads.
Right.
Talk to us about the email campaigns. Why do we call it a campaign? Just in general, how does this work?
Well, let's start with the what we were talking about, how it's a mass, how you can reach a lot of people with value very quickly. And what we've done is we've created 4 important campaigns, one to use each quarter that's uploaded into the system to send a message out and get people to come back to your website to engage and then give you lead information. So we have 4 different campaigns. One is an invite to First Alert, which is our rebranded property alert. What we have found at the broker website level is we're getting about 110, 120 people fill out First Alert forms per month. So we know that that is a value for the consumer. So we have a be the first to know campaign for you to send out to your database that will get them to engage back to your first alert page, not the broker, not ours, but yours. And as they fill that out, hit submit, that then is somebody that's interested in maybe buying or selling.
Right.
So that's one campaign. Another one is our detailed property search. Since 98% of people go to the web or real estate websites to look for property, it's a great thing to market out. And the beauty of that is we have an advanced property search campaign to check out some amazing home values. Everyone's always looking for value. It has a message in there that drives them to the agent's advanced search page. What's nice about that is when the person looks at the third property, it offers up first alert. Hey, by the way, if you're looking for property, how would you like to be first to know? Hence, again, lead capture. Mm-hmm. The third one is the market reports. We have great property market reports. People want to know what their equity position is on their property at all times, and this gives them the information. So it sends the message goes out and links back to the request for property, market data, and then there it is another lead capture. And then, of course, the fourth one is what is your home worth? And would you like to know your equity position? Click here, and you'll have timely information on the value of your home. Hence, again, they fill out a lead capture form. These are the 4 lead captures of your new WordPress website. So the CRM works in conjunction. The messages go out from the CRM. The CRMs have links. I'm not CRM, but the email has a link back to that lead capture page and captures a lead. So first alert, advanced property search, timely market reports, and what is your home worth. These are the 4 lead captures of your website, and we have campaigns that drive people to it. And here's my recommendation. First of all, your database will get this one of these messages every quarter.
So just to be clear, these are 4
messages for the year.
That will go out once.
Yeah.
Once a quarter.
Your electronic newsletter, which we're going to talk about here for a second, is something that goes out monthly.
Okay.
But this is a value add that goes out once a quarter. Also, anybody that you get an email address on should get this.
Right.
It doesn't cost any extra for you to send these out. So you're trying to get people, see, the people in your database, you already have their information. And these messages check to see if they're, interested in buying or selling. Also, they may forward this out to their friends. Hey, check this out. You're looking for a house. You should sign up for this first alert. But what's also critical is getting email addresses that aren't in your database that
Right.
are local. And we'll talk about that in the future. There are some rules around that. And I don't want to do this on the radio and get anybody in trouble.
Yeah.
But there is a way to get thousands of email addresses in your local zip code and put them into a client relationship manager like ours effectively and drive people to your website. But I'll be training that at our Power Technology training that's next week. I will get into detail in that.
Yeah.
And you've heard of, farming where you go out to 500 houses in the neighborhood and knock doors and hold open house. How would you like to farm, 60,000 email addresses within a specific zip code for $100?
Right.
Would that be worth it? But you need to
Raising-
know how to do that.
raising
And then
my
these
hand.
would be the messages that you would send out to those email addresses. Yeah.
Rich, how do you balance, and I know we may get to this later, but I'm notorious for going off topic. There's the the desire to develop my personal brand, and then that's juxtaposed with the ease of use of the pre-generated stuff from the marketing department. How do I balance those two things?
Well, it depends on what you want to brand. Everybody, we have, 1,200 agents?
Yeah.
That means we have
1,200
1,200 marketing experts. Yeah. I'm very vocal on what I feel branding is, and so since the microphone's in my face, I'll give it.
Good.
I think everybody likes to engage with the expert in the industry, and our setup is well for that, especially with the market reports and the way we do our newsletter. Mm-hmm. I think other than that, the only thing that matters is what buyers and sellers want. I think the industry has really missed that message. I've encouraged agents if you look at these 4 campaigns we just talked about, you notice it has nothing to do with the agent, but it has everything to do with what a buyer and seller would want. Mm-hmm. And I say that's how you want to engage. I think Kathy with the marketing reports and the way we do our newsletter each month, that really brands the agent as a marketing expert. So that's kind of the default branding that we have.
Yep.
But if you're a resorts person, if you're a luxury property, if you're all these things, the beauty about the system is you can customize your material with our current messages.
Yep.
That positions you that way. Absolutely.
Hey, I'll say it. I'm saying the same thing, maybe just a little differently. Start today with this.
Right.
If in the future you want to tweak, adjust, do whatever you want to it later, go ahead.
Yep.
But start today with what's provided.
Right.
And get the ball rolling. The longer you wait to start, the longer you wait to start.
Right.
So
upload your contacts and start with the first alert that week, and then the other campaigns that record, and you're off and running.
Get it going.
Then get the newsletter up, and now you've got some great contacts happening.
And you brought up the newsletter, so let's shift gears to that. And I've heard, look, I get a lot of comments from real estate professionals that I talk to, and the ones that implement this have seen really, really great results.
That's true.
So just walk us through the the structure, the form and function of this,
right?
And how we built it.
Well, first of all, wow, this is a good-looking one. Is that really an agent in our company, Jack Miller? I was like, dang, that's a good-looking newsletter. Anyway,
this is one we'll be putting together.
Well, no, we have a lot of agents that send this out now, especially our new agents that have gone to Ignite. I just heard a story of one of our newest agents. I won't use her name, Mariah.
Nice.
Who I think she's in the Orinda office, who sent out this newsletter. And I believe she closed an $800,000 horse property because of it. That was the feedback that I got, yes. So the newsletter, by the way, this isn't a theory. It's been something that we've been training out for 8 years. It has worked phenomenal in the field. Now, this newsletter, you'll notice that there's no chili recipes or how to winterize your home. Not really sure what kind of branding you're after when you send things like that.
I love chili recipes.
Yeah. But this newsletter has 3 sections to it that work very well, and they have 3 very important meetings. The first one is the market report that week. What's going on and what that means in the future. A lot of people want to know your opinion of where you think the market's going. You've heard me say this all the time. When you just give a report of where the market was, it's like describing water as somebody is drowning. It's just not really that effective. They want to know where you think it's going. So this is where you do your research, and then you put in your market report. What I kind of like about this is after you do about 3 or 4 of these, you actually do become an expert on the market because you have to research this.
Neat trick.
The second part is the My Thanks, where you thank anybody that's worked with you since the last newsletter, prospective buyers, actual buyers, somebody you're closing, somebody you hold an open house for. I don't care. I saw one agent thanked me in their newsletter. What this shows, the people that receive it, is people trust you and that you're actually working. So the first section positions you as market expert. The other section tells people that you're trustworthy. And the third part is the best buy section, where you go in the MLS and find value out there for the money. And you push this out in your newsletter. This shows the people that read this newsletter that you are looking for value at all times for your clients. So market expert, people trust you. You're always looking for value. This is the message that's hammered in this newsletter on a monthly basis, and it's worked phenomenal in the field.
And how much of this is pre-generated? How much of this is up to us to write the copy?
The templates for us, we'll have a generic one that'll be about 1/10 effective as if you did it yourself. Mm-hmm. This is a 3-hour process to put this whole newsletter together. This is the foundation of your branding. Is this electronic news? People talk about blogs and websites, but you know what? When this can end up in thousands of people's inbox in a touch of a submit, that's a quicker way to get to a large audience than to blog all day and try to figure out how to get your SEO in order to drive people to your website. So this is a critical piece. Put time in it. Think about it.
And you could if you have a blog, you could repurpose. I mean,
the
copy portion is probably
Absolutely.
2 to 3 blog posts.
Absolutely.
The graph is a blog post, and the thank yous is another blog post, and the pictures is that's 6, 8, 10 blog posts right there.
Yeah. And what's wrong with spending 3 hours a month on showing people you're an expert in the industry, that people trust you, and you look out for their well-being.
And the only part I'm
message.
really writing as an agent, because the market data is provided, correct?
Yes.
So I'm really just writing the copy around describing what the market's headed, and then the thank yous and picking a couple houses and dropping them in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. This is from the audience, and I know that this is something that other people either have or will experience. There's a new technology, a new CRM, right? And the statement is, I'd love to use these systems, but I need help with the contact management list integration. Can you just talk about the learning curve of adopting any new software and just how amazing and easy and simple? Yeah. Oh, wait, no, it's not. So tell us about that experience.
All right. Here's my recommendation, and I don't know how many times I've said this, and I hope people follow it. First of all, we've invested a lot of money in a far superior help desk. As a matter of fact, we are the only company in California that has an actual help desk that's running the workday, ready to respond to any issue you have. They can hop onto your computer remotely and move your contacts into the new system. Now, I know technology very well. I would say I have a high technology IQ. Guess how I would do this? I would get the help desk to do it for me, because the agent's best use is face-to-face and toes-to-toes. It's not screwing around with technology. Once you get your base contacts moved from wherever it is, Outlook, Top Producer, spreadsheet, whatever you have it in, over to the new system, it's really simple to operate with. Why mess around with import-export? Let the company do it for you, then move on from there. Here's the one thing I'll say about learning new technology. I've asked this to a lot of agents, and the light bulb went off. I said, so you use Outlook. Tell me about all the Outlook classes you went to. Well, I didn't go to any. What about the formal PowerPoint presentation classes you went to, since you use PowerPoint? Well, I don't use it. Well, okay, you write in Word documents. How many Word classes did you go to? Well, I didn't go to any. So even though we're providing great training for you to get exposed to the new product, it's really as easy as logging in and starting to click things. That's how we've all used technology. That's how we've all learned it. And let me tell you, as compared to Outlook, Excel, especially Top Producer, any of these software products, this is the easiest I have ever encountered to learn. So the key is get over the fear of log in, start messing around with it. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, I think you agree with everything you said. You just have to be prepared for a learning curve, just like there is with anything new. You move to a new city, finding the restaurant in town can take a while. Figuring out where to go get your hair cut. Well, I don't have that problem, but learning something new takes a while. Yeah. So just have the right mindset. Accept the reality that what used to maybe take you 10 seconds is going to take you a minute or two, and that's just going to be how it's going to be for a little while. But on the other side of that pain is a lot of pleasure. A kind of specific question, but one that a lot of people may have. If someone's been using the old technology for a long time and done some customization inside of it, etc., the web top, how is this going to affect their normal distribution? So I've already got drift set up, etc., etc. What does that mean?
Yeah, there's going to be, you have to reconstruct out of web top into the new ClientConnect again. Our help desk is ready for that. So if you don't be a victim here. Don't try to attack this thing on your own and try to learn it and go, oh my gosh, look at this problem. Web top, and I got to move it over here. Get with the help desk, have them remote, move your stuff from web top over to this and help you do this. That's what they're there for. Okay, that's just same coaching as the last.
Yep, make that part of the process.
Exactly, make that part of the process. Don't do it on your own.
All right, let's talk websites. So, look, a lot of companies make a ton of money developing SEO.
Right.
I'm an agent. I just, I want to sell 30, 40 houses a year, make a good living. And tell me how I position my website. How do I take this?
First of all, the newsletter going out to as many email addresses with the value proposition of property values and things will drive traffic to your web top. You have to get proactive. All of your campaigns, the one I just mentioned, will drive traffic. Some other things that will drive non-database people is there's huge opportunity on Craigslist. It is a hodgepodge of crap on Craigslist, especially in Northern California. Now, you can't put a link to your website anymore on homes for sale, but you can put a very copy-paste link and say copy and paste this to search for every home, copy and paste this to find out more information on this property. I'm not sure. Craigslist costs how much to post a listing?
I think it's free.
Oh, it is free.
Yeah.
So I would go to listing agents in my office if you don't have any listings, say, can I advertise your property and pictures on Craigslist, and then let the listing agent know that you will send them the ad so they can send them to their seller and say, look, I'm getting other agents to advertise your property. That'll make them look good. Driving to your website that has that mid-level registration, meaning when they look at the third property on there, they're going to get the first alert pop up. So I think Craigslist is a huge opportunity. I'd find as many agents that would let me advertise their listings on Craigslist, and I would just pummel Craigslist with ads.
It's really about, look, as an agent, I'm not going to have the Google presence, mind share.
No, you're
and I'm
not.
not going to have the Nike marketing budget.
No.
So if I don't have the mind share and I don't have the marketing budget,
Right.
what I need to do is draw people to my site,
Right.
attract people to my site
Yes.
through every way that I can possibly think of.
Right.
Whether that's Craigslist, other
Craigslist is a good medium right now because it works well with mobile. I used to pitch LinkedIn and Facebook pay-per-click. They used to work well. The problem is the majority of people on those two social media sites now are mobile.
Right.
And pay-per-click ain't working well on mobile unless you're a big advertiser,
Right.
that pops up. So that's kind of gone away a bit. So Craigslist, there are some niche markets that the Google ads would work, the
Right.
pay-per-click on the right
real
side.
long tail stuff.
Right. So if you're in a, you could maybe get away with $1.50 a click on Google and still be on the front fold of the
If you
first
have
page.
a farm and you wanted Twin Creeks, San
Yeah,
Ramon
yep,
real
yep,
estate,
Yep.
then
Then
you-
that might be that would definitely worth looking at that. Social media and blog. Oh, wait, I have the microphone right.
you do. Okay.
So I think everybody knows my opinion
Get the
on
mute
this.
button ready.
Social media and blog. What are the two words I'm looking for? Worth and lists. When blogging came out in real estate about 7-8 years ago, I couldn't stop laughing. Oh, by the way, I still can't stop laughing. There's so many more things that you can do to drive traffic to your website that is more profitable and get you more people than blogging can. First of all, everybody out in the audience that does well in real estate, raise your hand and tell me how many blogs you read a year. Well, that would be none. Every audience I've asked, if you're actually engaged in employment, reading blogs is not something that you do. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure people that buy and sell houses are engaged in employment.
Most of them
And
should
not,
be.
reading a real estate agent's blog is not somebody's, thing that they do. Now, does it create activity on your website that gets people to your website? Yeah, if you do it, I don't know,
Daily.
650 times a day for the next 50 years, you might put yourself in the top 20 search pages of Google.
All right,
Maybe.
I think they understand your feeling.
All right,
Yeah.
that's my feeling. And by the way, what's the first word of social media, Keith?
Social?
It's not real estate media,
No,
or
it's not.
business media, or pitch my listing media, or bug the crap out of your media. It's social. People want to see cats, funny videos, and smart asses on their
You should have a blog.
social
then.
media. I should have a blog. They don't want your listing. Now, LinkedIn, if you put a picture of your cat, you'd be thrown off. So it's
Correct.
the opposite.
Right.
Everybody, raise your hand on who reads news feeds on LinkedIn. So, can these be effective ways to drive real estate business? Yes, I will agree with that.
Mhm.
Is it in the top 60? Not in my opinion. No.
Right. Yeah, I'll.
This is the no shot, no filter, the weekly shot. No filter. Okay,
Correct.
just making sure. I was
Look,
on the right track.
I'll maybe put a pretty bow on Rich's package. That didn't.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So,
First it was pain and pleasure, and now he's putting a bow on it.
Just stop it.
Not really.
I don't even remember what I was going to say now. Totally lost me, Rich. Thanks. Right.
So
Social
look at me,
media,
dude.
blog, right.
You're responsible.
Anything you do consistently will get a result. And if you already love journal writing and you sit down.
You know what? Let's go back to that statement. Anything you do consistently will get a result. We didn't say positive, just a result.
No.
I got you.
There are people that give business from blogging. They're not too many, and they do it a lot. And is it the most efficient? No. Will you make more money if you do something different? Yes. If you're passionate about it and you enjoy it, it feeds your soul, go ahead and do it. It's just not the most efficient. That's my opinion. We disagree. Rich thinks it's the dumbest thing in the history of the universe.
I don't think that at all.
If you cut your finger off and just go to the ER and tell them you're in real estate every day, you might sell a house, right?
That's true.
See?
That's
All
more
right.
effective.
Let's talk about something we agree about, which is capture points websites.
Well, there they are. This is great. This covers 3 out of the 4 campaigns that we talked about at the beginning of the show. The first alert, there's the first alert. That is the mid-level registration right there, by the way, that everybody's looking at. So this is what pops up when somebody goes to property search and into 3 properties. The 2 boxes on the left side, there's what pops up, the first alert and free access to unlimited listings. And then the one on the far right is the lead capture for when we offer out equity position. Do you want to know your home's value, equity position? That's where they go to give you that information. So these are the critical capture points on the agent websites now.
And this is something that...
So we now have 4...
Go back for a second, Kathy.
We now have 4 agent, lead capture points on the websites, which is 4 more than we had. So this is a big improvement.
Rich, how do you... Look, I'm an agent. Let's just have a dialogue for real. Pretend I'm an agent. And I say, I don't know, Rich. Like, search is important. And I've never forced anyone to fill anything out before. And I don't want people to leave my site. So...
You know exactly what I'm going to say. You always set me up for these things.
I know.
Well, first of all, we had
right?
free, we had sites before. They've had them for 10 years where people could come and search for every property imaginable and not have to fill anything out. My question to real estate agents is those are phenomenal ways to serve the client if you're a nonprofit agent. Nonprofit agents have free websites for people to search for property all day long. Agents that are actually here to increase their business and provide true value. Here's the thing. If somebody fills out first alert, and by the way, we make it optional. They can click out and keep going for free. So this isn't like they can't go any farther. They can click the little X and keep searching. But the beautiful thing about property first alert, it is value for that person. And by the way, then you can contact them. If you don't believe you provide extra value to the agent other than coming to your website, then you might be in the wrong business. So this gives you the opportunity to show the value of your services also.
How many leads did you receive as a real estate professional by not asking? That would be 0. So by at least
about as many as I got blogging.
Right. So
just kidding.
At least
just
asking,
kidding, bloggers.
By at least asking, you have a shot, right?
Right.
And so if you think people are going to flee from your website because you ask them to fill something out, which they can just X out of, what you're saying is you don't have much confidence in your website.
Here's the big difference among what we do and what's been done in the past. It's kind of like I'm not a big believer in open house registry. You can't see the open house unless you sign in.
Right.
Well, what's the value to them of filling that sheet out? There
It's
isn't
also
any.
not true.
It's also not
95%
true.
of the time it's a
So,
problem.
but now we let people in the open house, and then we come up to them with our iPad with first alert and say, "Hey, would you like to be the first to know?" And yeah, great. This is what this is. We're not just saying you can't move on to the website unless you fill this form out. That was what was done in the past. What we're doing is giving them an option on the third property to be notified when new ones come on the market, something of value.
A value-based
And
option.
they can move on without it. So we're not badgering them and saying, keeping information from them. We're just offering them something of value every third properties. And by the way, if they're a true buyer, they're going to fill it out.
Right.
That's what we found out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a little different than it was in the past.
So let's talk about building the agent's brand, the specific agent brand. How do I do that? What's the strongest way to do that now?
building the agent brand. Well, I think that first comes from your newsletter. So how you build that out is key. Yeah, and you want to be yourself. Kathy's very good at this about, appealing to everybody on the planet really genericizes you, waters you down. It really doesn't attract anybody. So being personal, being authentic, I think is critical. Look at the multiple niches. Think about this. Market experts, one. The other would be, depending on your area and price range, maybe you're a market expert and luxury properties and your resort. And those are your three that you pound away at. And so that you can go at each one of those differently, but at the same time, they kind of coexist.
Don't try to be all things to all people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And by the way, people like local experts. That's what that hyper-local means. That's why if you'll notice in the newsletter, you give a one-paragraph macro. Here's what's going on in the country, but what really matters is what's happening right here in Antioch, and then that's what the rest is about.
Right.
Yeah.
Good deal. Rich, thank you, as always.
All right.
Informative, opinionated, and powerful. So thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Of course. Thanks. So we got a quick update for you about an upcoming new home certification class that we've got. Kathy, why don't you tell them about that?
All right, great. We have Dennis Walsh, who is going to be doing the new home certification in San Francisco. It's going to be at the Holiday Inn on Wednesday, February 19th. And this is going to be a really great opportunity for agents, not just in San Francisco, but really all throughout the Bay Area, to hear about the opportunity that is growing right now with the new home sales. San Francisco construction right now in condominiums is extremely high. We're seeing it start to increase in other areas of the Bay Area. So Dennis Walsh is an expert in this area. He's going to talk about how to work with builders, how to market new homes, and what the opportunity is. And then David Polson, who is our new home certification director, or new home director.
You said
New. Exactly. He is going to talk about what the opportunity is with the company, because Ed Kraftjow, our CEO, is now working with a number of new home builders to create an opportunity for our agents here at Mason-McDuffie. So that is a very exciting opportunity, and David's going to be there to talk a little bit about that. So it is $399. It's an investment in your business, and look out for the invitation. It went out on Friday, but you'll be getting another one within the next day or so.
And here's why you would want to spend $399. I went to college, and I didn't go to college because I love sitting in classrooms and learning about accounting 101. In fact, a lot of what I learned in college hasn't actually translated to my professional career. But I went to college because I knew that there were certain doors and interviews that I couldn't get into if I didn't have that piece of paper. Because I had a piece of paper that said I started something and I finished something, I could interview for jobs that I couldn't interview for otherwise. That was why I went to college. And I enjoy learning. I read more books than most people that I know, but I like to learn to grow myself. I went to college so I could get paid. That's the same reason you want this new home certification. It will allow you to get into doors and be more valid when you go to try to sit down with a home builder or a developer to try to earn their business. If you aren't interested in that book of business, don't spend the $399. If you are interested in that book of business, you're silly if you don't. And I was having breakfast with David last week. He was reviewing with me the permit start numbers for San Francisco, for Marin County, for areas of the wine country and in the East Bay. There is a literal torrent of new home starts throughout Northern California. Builders believe the market's back. Builders believe there is an inventory shortage, and so builders are swinging hammers as fast as they can. They're trying to get the new permit starts going. There is still an opportunity for the smaller builder, the infill builder. The big guys are back. The little guys are not all the way back yet. They are still getting recapitalized and trying to go out and raise money. So there is, and Denny and his team teach you a lot of really intelligent ways to grow this book of business. If you're a big deal specialist or those kinds of things excite you, you can go out and attract investors, put together a whole team that's going to go out and do infill projects. If you want to go out and pitch new home builders on being their in-house sales rep, as a company, we can put together a team for that. David Paulson is a great resource for you. The guy is very intelligent. He's done development projects himself. If you want to add that in that book of business as something that you work along with your, I've always trained you should have your sphere of influence in something else, whatever that something else is, geographical farm, working with investors, flip investors, or maybe the something else for you will be new home. If that's what you want, spend the money, do the work, go and get the business. You should go to this for the same reason I went to college, because doors will open because you have it, period, end of story. Now, shifting gears, Rich talked to us a lot of ways about how we could get more leads and how to grow our lead volume through technology. We have Tony Chahal, who's going to talk to us about converting those online leads. Tony, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Welcome. I'm here to talk about Oakland Raiders and our $60 million in salary cap.
Perfect. Let's do that, because
Yeah.
I like that.
And we finally have some draft picks, so that should be a fun
We have
season
some
for us.
draft picks, and we have some money, and I want us to at least go 8-8 before I start to get excited, because
I hear
I'm
you.
tired of having my heart broken.
2 years of 4-12, yeah.
Yeah. No good
Well,
stuff.
before I get started, I just want to wish one of my agents, Mary Nishiyama, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mary. All right, any other shout-outs?
That's it. That's
All
my
right,
only
that's
shout
it.
out.
All
That's
right,
my
good.
one and only shout out. Yeah.
All right, so look, you've had a lot of success in generating leads. You came from a company that really was a specialist at generating a lot of leads before you started your own company at doing the same thing. So this is really in your cellular DNA, how to take this lead that you get that's maybe earlier in the funnel, right? I mean, because what I hear when I'm out in the field is, online leads suck, right?
Yeah.
And the truth is they're just earlier in the funnel.
Correct.
Right? They're not as close to buying as someone who's sacrificing their time to go to an open house. So tell us about how you started this and how you built this, first the generating and then managing those leads.
So, Rich did a great job of going over the first half of the battle, and that's basically, driving traffic to your website. Craigslist and, Google ads. I know Rich isn't going to like it, but social media, that worked for me. Never got into the whole blogging thing. And search engine optimization, that also helped. The key really is ease of access to the client for valuable information. That's why they're coming to your website. That's what you've got to do. And then the second battle really is how do you then manage once that lead comes on board, right? That's the key. And that's when you're talking about response times, knowing the consumer's needs, educating yourself. Not just the client. Remember, yourself on the market.
Right.
You've got to be a market expert if you're going to call yourself a market expert. Because remember, the client, the consumer is highly educated. They will ask you in-depth questions because they've got access to information. And then you want to become that beacon of information where they have a real estate question, automatically, oh, Keith Robinson, I know he's got the answer. So you want them to be able to call you on that. And most important, and there's several surveys that have been done, the most important thing to real estate clients is trust. They've got to be able to trust you with the information that you're giving them. And that's going to, again, come from your knowledge. So that's basically what it is there's two halves to it, and then we'll go through the second half.
We'll deep dive in the second half. So let's start at the very beginning. How do I, if I said I got 1,000 real online leads last year, or internet leads, how do you even, what makes it an online lead?
Yeah, so let's just talk about it. So it's a customer-initiated contact, from a real person.
So not Mickey Mouse
and not Mickey Mouse.
gmail.com.
They're sitting on their PC, or more and more often these days on a mobile device, iPad, iPhone, your Android device, and it's they've seen something of interest on your branded site, and they've submitted their name, an email address, and usually a phone number. You'll be surprised. When I was doing this, more than 50% of the leads that I was giving actually had a phone number, and it was real. It wasn't disconnected and all that stuff. It's all about value-based, right? So if you're giving the information that's valuable, they will be forthcoming and honest when they're giving that. So go ahead.
I've seen a lot of agents who they get one Mickey Mouse at gmail.com, or they get one bad phone number, and they tend to globalize because they'll say all the leads, right?
Yep.
You're going to have a certain percentage that aren't good. Don't worry about that. This is a big numbers game, yes?
Well, here's the thing. At one point, I was getting 99 leads per month. If all 99 leads per month were great clients and I was closing 99, I would be a very rich man right
You
now.
would.
Right? So, so the expectation isn't that 100% of the leads are going to be just excellent and they're a client that's all cash buyer and they're ready to buy tomorrow. Right? There's a life cycle to this stuff.
What percent would you say were ready to execute if you got 100 leads?
Yeah.
What percent would you say are ready to buy something in the next 60 to 90 days or so?
Usually about 6 to 7%. That's a good.
Yeah.
And my capture rate was around 4 or 5. So, but there's other companies that are at 2. Some companies are at 7 or 8. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right? If you can get 7%, if you can get a 10% capture rate, that's you're a top producer. You're crushing it.
Yeah.
So that should be the expectation.
Right.
That doesn't mean that the other 90% aren't real and you shouldn't contact them.
They just are not.
They're just not ready to go because there's a life cycle to this.
The benefit of the internet is you're catching them early. The downside of the internet is you're catching them early.
Exactly. That's the whole
Cool.
thing. Yep.
So what's a long cycle buyer? I love that languaging, by the way, because it sets the right expectation. What is a long cycle buyer?
Yeah, so like we were talking about the 100 leads. So about 50% of those people aren't going to be ready to buy in that 69-day period. They're 12 to 24 months out. Right? So does that mean we ignore them? We're like, oh, well, they're too far. No, because at some point they're going to be a client. So that's what you're talking about when you've got to continue to nurture that lead in the meantime. So that 12 to 24 months, you've got to market yourself as the branding expert. You can't give up. And you've got to continue to give them information, valuable information. And Rich touched base on this, the monthly newsletter, the quarterly market report, picking up the phone, contacting them. That's still the most important way to reach out to any lead. If you've got a phone number, that's gold. You've got to hit that call.
So what was your model or system for how much of it was campaigned, pre-generated communication, and how much of it was true personal communication where you were crafting, hey, I saw a home on tour that was perfect for you, or you gave them a call. What was that mix like, or how many times did you touch a buyer or seller?
Yep. So my model was if there's a phone number, 100% of the time I'm contacting them.
Okay.
You want to get to them, and we'll go into this in depth, but 100% of the time if there's a phone number involved, even if it looks fake to you, just do it. You dial it. That's the most important way to reach out to them. After that, there was I would say probably about 50% of the people I had on automated drip system, where they were coming to my website and they were active. Some came on a daily basis, some came once a week, some only came when I sent them leads for homes that matched their criteria that came to the market. And the rest of the people, I would say about 10 to 15% I was engaged with actively, back and forth, personal emails, phone contacts, and I've had, I'll kid you not, I've had it to the point where leads come in. Within 5 minutes, I've qualified them. Within 2 days, we've got a pre-approval for them, and we've closed escrow within a 45-day period.
Right.
But then I've had leads where it took me 2 years to get through that call. Right. And that's just the way it is.
It just depends on where they are.
Just
in their
depends
process.
on where they are. And remember, 90% of the people that are looking or active in real estate start online. Right. So remember that 90%, they're not all ready to buy within 2 to 5 days.
Right.
Right.
If only.
Exactly. Right.
So what leads should I avoid, if any? Are all leads good?
Yeah. Well, I like to say all leads are good. However, it depends on where the lead's coming from, right? If you're paying for leads, then you probably want to avoid some of the companies that shell out leads to about 6 or 10 different agents.
Right.
Right. Because what happens to the consumer is that lead goes out to everybody at the same time. And I might get to them in 5 minutes, then you might get to them in an hour, and before the day's over, they might have had 6 different agents calling them about the same exact thing. And now it's gone from a value to now it's annoyance, and they don't want to deal with it. And if you're paying heavy bucks for this, $19, $20 a lead, then that might be something to avoid, where you're saying, wait, I want to make sure that the lead is only coming to me if I'm paying for it. Yeah. Okay. If you're not paying for it and it's free, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
It could be 20 other agents. You're competing. You're in a business.
Right. Yeah. So now turn it around a little bit, and so we've talked about the agent expectation, what the agent should expect. What should the consumer expect when they're communicating with in the process? Yeah.
So, as I mentioned, the average consumer, is highly educated. They live in a digital space, and the age of the average consumer is consistently coming down. Right, baby boomers are retiring. Now it's the next generation that's taking over. So, what are they used to? They're used to smartphones, tablets, computers, instant access to information. So, the average consumer is looking for communication on a very, very quick, instant basis. And you've got to be able to follow up with them on their terms. So they're used to Twitter, Facebook. They don't even want to write more than 140 characters. They don't have time for that. Right? They move on. Their attention span is limited. Yes. So you've got to be able to make sure that you're there with your service within a timely manner. So going forward, timing is going to be key.
Yeah, 5 minutes. 5 minutes, if you think about it, sounds like a long time. Yeah. But in the span of your life, it's an instant, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it is basically immediate response.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the way I describe it to agents is, if you're sitting in a movie and a lead comes in, are you willing to step out and call? Right?
Yep.
That's the sort of speed to client that they want, because they're surfing the internet, they're spending some time, and then something triggers for them, whether it's a thought, a picture of a house, something happened. And there's a shelf life to that emotion. And if you don't tap into that emotion, you will not convert them as a client.
Well, remember another key thing. They're sitting at their computer,
right?
Which means their phone is likely right next to them. Yeah. Or about 22% of the people are actually now on mobile. So they're actually searching on their phone. So you're going to get them right there if you give them a call. And that's one of the things that some research has shown is, and we'll go into the next slide, which talks about so following up, speed is key.
Yeah.
And this is some research that was done by the Kellogg study on lead response management. And the odds of connecting with a lead increased by 100 times if attempted within 5 minutes. Yeah. And now that's connecting.
Right.
Now converting within 5 minutes, it increases by 21 minutes versus 30. Wow. Why is that? Why is it such a big difference? Only 25 minutes, right? Remember, attention spans are short. Mm-hmm. After about 30 minutes, they're on to another activity.
Right.
They're either gotten up from their phone, from their computer, from their desk, or they've gone to a different website, or they're engaged in something different. So it's extremely, extremely important that you get to them immediately. If you follow up a full day later, they might not even remember you. They might not even remember your website, or right. They were searching, or they've gone through 4 other real estate agents' websites by that time.
Yeah. So
getting to them within that 5-minute period is so key. So what I did is I made sure that all my emails came to me via text, mm-hmm. or directly to my mobile. Mm-hmm. So when something came, I didn't have to log into my email. Most people have that already, right. But I made sure that it was an alert. Yeah. So when I got a lead, if there was a phone number, I contacted them immediately.
So you just mentioned some of the ways you routed leads.
Yeah.
What were some, again, back to speed being so important, yeah. Right? I just want to reinforce, if you aren't interested in having your life inconvenienced, don't work these leads. Yeah. Right? But how did you route your leads? Did you clock in and clock out? Did you turn it on, turn it off? How did you handle this?
Yeah, so that's important because, one of the pet peeves my wife has is if I'm sitting at dinner and I'm fiddling with my phone. So I made it. See, we get in real estate because of freedom, right? We get the freedom of when we want to get up, when we want to work, what hours, right?
Right.
Double-edged sword there.
Very.
Because you've got to make sure that, hey, if you're going to say, I'm not taking a call at 7 o'clock if I'm having dinner with my wife, then you've got to make sure there's a set time where you are taking calls no matter what.
Right.
Except unless you're on your lunch or whatever it is.
Right.
So you've got to say, okay, well, I'm going to work from 10 to 6, but during that time, I'm not having dinner with my wife. I'm not playing with my kid. Right. I'm not doing these other activities that I might want to do because this is my work time. Mm-hmm. So I set up a system where I set a schedule and said, hey, based off of my schedule, I'm going to take any call that comes in. Any lead that comes in, I'm going to contact them.
Yep.
Immediately. Absolutely. So I'm a big movie buff. I don't know if I would leave a movie, but you're but you're right.
Clock in, clock out.
You have to.
If
absolutely.
You're clocking out. It's cool. Take your 2 hours.
Take your 2 hours.
Enjoy your movie, but then understand that there's 2 other hours in your day that you aren't, right?
And it comes down to making sure that there aren't extra layers between the lead. So right. Some of these companies, what they'll do is they'll send it to their homepage, and then their people will route it out to you. And by that time, 10, 15 minutes have elapsed, right? Or you might have agents on your team, and you're saying, well, you know what, I'm going to route this out at my leisure. I'm going to give one to one agent and another to another agent, right. And by that time, time has lapsed. Yep. So you want to make sure that these leads are coming directly to you on your phone, either via text or via email, and you're able to get to them in that very short period.
What did you say when you got got the lead came in, it had a phone number, you dialed, and what did you say?
Well, I had a couple of responses. If I got to the client within 5 minutes, it was this. Whoa, that was fast. Right. I'm still on your website.
Right.
So I didn't have to say much when that happened.
So
I just said, yeah, so how can I help you? I know you're searching for some homes, and especially with our new ClientConnect, it allows us to, it has Google Analytics, and it allows us to know what, my website did the same, what properties they're searching, what properties that they've saved. So I can just say, hey, I see that you were looking at 123 Main Street. You know, there's an open house this Sunday. We can go by it, or they're accepting offers on Friday. Would you like more information about it? And before you know it, you're already engaged in a conversation.
Yeah.
You've given them something of value. And you've engaged them immediately, and they're impressed by that. They understand that, wow, this guy, real estate is his deal.
Right.
This is what he does. He's a professional. He's not sitting around and getting back to me 2 days later. Communication is instant, and they're impressed by that.
Good. Yeah, it almost doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah.
It just matters that you call.
You
and
call.
say hello.
Absolutely.
You got to say something. You can't just sit there like a weirdo and breathe heavy on the phone.
And if for some reason I wasn't able to, get to them, what I did is I sent an introductory email stating that, I had a template kind of made out, but I always made sure that it didn't go out through an autoresponder, because autoresponder is not the same thing as doing a personal contact. So what I would do is I would say, hi, Keith, I see that you were on my website. I called you. Sorry, I missed you. If you'd like to, any other further information, please give me a call, and I always give my cell phone number.
You can set up an autoresponder, but then send the personal one too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
The consumer's used to receiving an autoresponder. There's nothing wrong with that. But also send the personal one. I want to dig in on one bullet. I know we got a lot of content. We're running short on time, but call them at least 3 times over the next 24 hours.
Correct.
Tony, I want to work these leads, but 3 times in 24 hours feels a little stalkerish.
Yeah.
Do I really have to do it that much?
No, you don't have to do it at all if you don't want to be successful. But here's the thing, so this is based off of studies, right? So this is not stuff that I've made up. Based off of a study, a client is receptive to up to 3 calls within a 24-hour period. When it gets to 5 and 6, they've decided they've checked out of that relationship that never existed anyway, and they don't want to deal with that. But here's the thing, they're impressed that you're persistent. If you're calling them within that time frame that many times. If you've called them once and then said, well, I'll call them a week later, remember, they don't remember you. They forgot about you, and they're also not impressed. They're like, well, it's a week later. I kind of remember your website. I don't know what's really going on.
I looked at a bunch of stuff since then.
And here's the thing. Another more persistent agent's probably already had a conversation with them by that time. Right?
But what's even worse is usually there isn't another more persistent agent, and then the consumer's just frustrated because they wanted somebody. Look, we all have busy lives. We all, I filled out things online and that kind of thing and been expecting a response, and then they call once, but I'm busy, right? I've been on to something else. They didn't catch me quick enough, and I mean to call back. And then it just goes into the ether. It just goes into things that I coulda, shoulda, woulda got to. But what matters is that you just are consistent and persistent with a servant's heart, right? It can't be, hey, look, I've called you 3 times. You haven't called me back. I guess you're not serious, right? It's I even know one agent who refers to herself as the help desk for her website. Right, so she says, "Hey, this is Keith Robinson." Well, she doesn't say that because that'd be weird, but she says, "Hey, I noticed that you were on the site. I'm part of the help desk, and I'm here to help you with anything that you need."
Well, here's another key thing, and this was on my website as well. It wasn't required to leave a phone number on my website, so only a name and an email. So they have left their phone number on purpose, even though it's not required. So most of these people do want somebody to contact them because they're looking for information.
Filled it out for a reason.
Exactly, right?
Another good question from the audience here, Tony, and I'm going to ask the specific question and the macro question, which is how do you balance your information to prepare for the call and the need for speed to the call? And the agent-specific question, which is sort of saying the same thing, is what if you don't have connection to the MLS, or you haven't connected to the MLS, and you need to know about the property before you call because they were requesting information about a specific house? Would you just call anyway to have the high-level discussion, or would you feel the need to look at the property first, but then if that takes 15 minutes, it takes 15 minutes?
Yeah, I would honestly just call first, just to have a macro conversation with them. Look, the client doesn't think you're a robot and a computer and you're going to know everything. You just need to be knowledgeable in your field. Right. So I don't have to know every single listing that's on the market in Antioch. However, I should know general things about the market and where price points are and how offers are coming in and all that good stuff. So
that call could even go something like, hey, Tony, look, I'm in the car. But I saw that your request for information came through. I just want to have a quick high-level discussion when I get to the office. I'll call you right back.
Absolutely.
Does it have to be
and I did that a ton of times. Bluetooth, you're always in the call of the realtor. And you know what? I took tons of calls in the car. And I said, I'm actually not in my office right now, but as soon as I get to my office, I'll get back to you within an hour or two. The key is you've touched base with them and you've built that rapport now. So now they're, and especially when they say, okay, well, I'll expect that call. Now they're giving you permission to continue to call them. So you know that this is now gone from a warm lead to a hot lead because they want to communicate with you.
You're showing them that you're somebody who does what they say they're going to do.
Absolutely. Trust. So, again, it comes back to that trust.
Priscilla, great question, but I'd recommend you call first. Just lead comes in, dial phone. And have a high-level discussion. If you need to call them right back with the stuff or be looking it up while the phone is ringing, no problem, but call immediately. All right. Now I'm gonna frame up this best thing, okay? Because I believe in best a lot. With Tony's a highly analytic person, which is wonderful. He wants to optimize all of his business so that he can get the best result. So there's nothing wrong with that. That being said, sometimes we get stuck in this best thing to create some rejection avoidance. I'd rather you, if you miss the 8 to 9 window, call from 9 to 10.
See, it doesn't say only; it says best.
Correct.
So remember, the 9 to 10 could be the second best, right? I just wanted to optimize it. Again, this is all based off of a study, and they've done this. And why is it 8 to 9? Usually this right before they're leaving for work, or they're in their car, Bluetooth, right? And they're trapped in the car for 45 minutes, and they're ready to talk. And same thing for the 4 to 6. They're coming back from work. It's before dinner, and it's after work, right? So just because it's the best time to call, it doesn't mean it's the only time to call. Remember, it's within 5 minutes, first and foremost. That's the first rule. Then it's like, okay, when do I want to really have a conversation with them, follow up with them, talk about pre-approvals, talk about more in-depth analysis of what their search criteria are. These are the times that you want to, that they'll be more willing to, give you more time to talk to.
Just don't let best become a reason you don't.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. So ClientConnect mid-level registration. Let's dig in on that for just a second. How do I position that? We've sort of covered this with Rich, but anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, it's just here's the main thing about this. The mid-level registration is a proven method. This isn't theory. There's entire business models built around this. The bottom line is you've got to give your client limited access, so that's the value to listings, and then you're asking for you're prompting them to register, leave their information for additional value, so they can have full access to your website. Now, if you don't do that, like Rich said, how do you know if there are people on your website that are engaged? How do you engage them? You can't unless you're asking them to register. Look, if you don't ask, they won't give you the information. And at the end of the day, Rich talked about this in depth, is you build your yourself as the market expert through the newsletters, through the quarterly reports, to touching base with them, educating them on the market, and then at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're giving them the information that they're looking for.
All right, we got 1 minute left, literally. So what do I need to know? Sort of summarize for us what we've gone over.
So, how to immediately qualify, disqualify a lead. First of all, don't ignore any lead. It's very difficult to do that within a 2-minute conversation. The key is to build it over the long life cycle of the lead, the 12 to 24 month life cycle. Every lead treated like that. Now, obviously, there's going to be people that are ready to go in 30 days, and they'll let you know. Another thing you've got to do on the phone is you've got to learn to listen. If you just ask one simple question, the clients they'll give you their entire background. They'll give you all the story, where they're at, how far they are in their search. So learn to listen. And then it's really just about nurturing that lead, through value provided information, being a market expert, putting them on your campaigns. So the whole idea of this is the client's looking for information, you have that information, and you want to share it and start building that rapport with that client.
Awesome. Wow, what a lot of content today on how to get more leads, how to catch them earlier in the funnel, how to automate the process. Just one thing I can reiterate that Tony said, and we probably said it 100 times, but be prepared to be responsive. That's the biggest piece I see that that we struggle with, is just that consistent answering the fire alarm bell. When you get that in, you've got to respond quickly and be comfortable with that. So Tony, thanks so much for your time.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much for having me.
Very much. Kathy, as always, great job on the technological side. Rich, appreciate you contributing as well. So thanks, everyone, and go out and make it a great week.